everyone. Welcome back to Bougie with Mars and Neeter. We're two Southern ladies on a budget, vacay, staycay, and just have random adventures. This episode is part 2 of the Blackbird Film Festival road trip that me and Anita took back in 2018. You'll hear stories of us getting lost, finding religion in the middle of nowhere, and how one can appreciate a pair of moisture-wicking athletic pants. Before we dive into episode 2, I just wanted to quickly remind everybody where we left off in episode 1. So me and Anita had just finished seeing our last waterfall on the scenic route in South Carolina, and now we're trying to get back on track so we can get to our hotel in Virginia. After we hit the falls, that's when we took the wrong turn.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
In South Carolina.
Right. So we realize, okay, we don't know exactly where we are. We know that we're still in South Carolina. So let's get on this travel app, Waze.
Yeah, we use Waze. I drive with Uber and Lyft, and that's the app that I use, which is more accurate in real time because you can put in road closures and traffic jams and all that, and it updates the map immediately. So when you're traveling, it's good to have because then you know which roads to avoid. It'll direct you around traffic jams and accidents and stuff like that.
Even roadkill.
Yes.
There was roadkill.
And potholes.
Right. So that came in handy, especially when we were traveling through Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, potholes. But yeah, so we get on Waze. So we're trusting this app and hours go by.
We jumped almost right into North Carolina and we were like, whoa, that was quick.
Right.
But instead of taking us down I-85, Waze directed us up another route.
It's like we went through a corner of North Carolina.
And then boom.
And we hit Tennessee.
Then we were in Tennessee. And I'm like, wait, this isn't the route that we planned.
Right. Like
how did we end up in Tennessee?
I know, that was so crazy. I was like, oh my God, it's like we're going back home. Is this the right way?
I know.
And so we had to jump out. We had to check the map again. We double checked Waze.
We went to the Tennessee Welcome Center, remember?
Yeah, we went there. We took photos. We're like, holy crap, we're in Tennessee. Yeah. Why is that?
Oh, well. Here we are. Might as well take advantage of it.
Exactly. So what happened was Waze took us through the like a small portion of North Carolina into Tennessee, and we essentially went up that eastern side of Tennessee all the way up into Virginia.
Yeah.
But
we were on the western side, southwestern side of Virginia, and we needed to be on the northeastern side of Virginia.
Right. What did you say? How long it took? 19 hours?
Yeah. It was 3:00 that morning that we got there.
That was another hotel we were calling. Hey, please don't cancel us. We're on the way. That was a very long day. That's when we get to Virginia and the applesauce truck turned over.
Yes.
And we were stuck in traffic for a very long time.
So we ended up being stuck in traffic for like 3 hours. 3 hours of just sitting there. You were sleeping, actually. I was listening to something on the podcast.
The way we passed time in the car is we entertained each other for some time. I think at the end of the journey, though, we were so tired. We were like, and let's not talk.
Right.
And let's just listen to podcasts and music and let's not talk because we're so tired.
Right.
But the first leg of the journey, we were talking about things that we were going to do. I know I had gone onto Spotify and picked out some music and new things that I really wanted to listen to on the way. And especially when we went through Tennessee, we were playing Dolly Parton.
Yeah, we were listening to Dolly Parton and Loretta Lynn.
Oh, yeah.
Just trying to get in the mood of the state that we were in.
Right. A little country music through the country. We knew we were never going to do anything in Washington, D.C. when we got to our day 2 hotel. We just planned on having a night in, which we tried to hit the hay. And we had an early morning because we had to meet your daughter in
Right.
Washington, D.C., because we were going to hit up the National Mall
Right.
and go to all of these museums. We only had about, maybe 5 hours of sleep, maybe?
No, I think it was less than that because breakfast was like from 6 to 8, I think.
God. Yeah.
So we actually went in our pajamas. And come to find out, when we checked out, we were getting breakfast at the wrong hotel.
I know.
Wrong hotel lobby the whole time. Because it was
They
two
didn't kick us
hotels.
out.
Right. It was two hotels side by side.
Right.
And the lobby for our hotel was like on the exact opposite side of the lobby we were going in to get breakfast, but they didn't tell us anything.
Know, because then we could have compared.
Right.
But oh well.
But yeah, we got there like at 3:00 that morning. By the time we took our baths and laid our heads down, it was like 4.
Oh my gosh.
And then we were back up at 7?
Yeah,
the next morning.
I think we had to meet her at 8.
Yeah, we were meeting her around 8 or 9.
So if you have not been to Washington, D.C. before, there's a lot of free stuff that you can do. A lot of the museums are free, and we definitely wanted to take advantage of that. So the first museum we hit up is the National Air and Space Museum, which that was so cool. And they have the little, the planetarium inside?
Yeah.
Where you can look at the stars.
Where we almost went to sleep.
I know. Because we didn't have a lot of sleep the night before. We almost fell asleep.
So
in
it's
the
all
planetarium.
dark. You're laying back in this chair, and there's stars above your head. You're looking at space, essentially. And we're running on 3 hours of sleep.
Oh, God.
And the next thing I know, my head keeps nodding off. I think Margaret
I pretty much passed out. I'm surprised I was not snoring. But It was very relaxing. So we enjoyed that. The next thing we did, we went to the Smithsonian Museum of Natural
History. Yeah.
Of course, we didn't have a lot of time.
No.
Because we spent a lot of it
walking
around.
That's another thing. If you go to Washington, D.C. and you want to see everything, don't let the maps fool you.
Honestly, you want to think about proximity. Like if you're walking.
Right.
Think of proximity. Where do you want to go? Where we went, it was not in close approximation to one another.
No.
Because the Space Museum was all the way on the other side of the National Mall. Right. Then after that, I think we tried to go back to the Washington Monument.
Yes.
And try to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Then we started heading back to try and catch a glimpse of the Capitol.
Right.
But also go to the White House. Right. So we went that way, and that was a long way.
And they're far away from each other, too.
Oh, they definitely are.
Either wear some roller skates, bring a skateboard, or rent a scooter or a bike or something, because...
Right.
And then it got cold. That day was cold. We went from an 80-degree day the day before.
Right.
We got up that morning and it was kind of drizzling, raining, and then it got cold. And the wind was blowing like ferociously, like so hard. I felt like I was going to blow away, and I'm pretty heavy. So for it to be blowing me backwards, it was blowing hard.
We still enjoyed our time. I mean,
absolutely.
We got to see Anita's daughter. We got to see, the museums that we wanted to see. It's just, we didn't really get to spend a lot of time in the Smithsonian Museum of Natural History, because we spent so much time at the other one. So
and walking between the two,
right? Exactly,
from one place to the other.
But it was still a nice day. Her daughter took us to Chinatown in Washington, D.C., and took us to an Irish pub. Right. We got kind of wasted. I was in the bathroom and thought that I was getting a phone call. So I answered it. And it turned out to be a video chat with our good friend Chase, who you'll probably hear on the show later, because he talks about bougie stuff. We talk about bougie. He talks about bougie. So I'm getting this video call. I don't even realize it until I see his face. And I'm like, dude, you're calling me in the bathroom. And he's like, dude, why are you answering your phone in the bathroom? And I said, because I'm drunk. So that was a good time. We knew it was going to be a full day, so we had the hotel for that night as well.
We just didn't realize, because looking at the maps and stuff that we pulled up online, we didn't realize that everything we wanted to see was so far apart, like not really walking distance.
Because we wanted to do something the day after.
Right.
Like we were talking about
we were going to go
back.
Yeah, and see.
Right, because there were a couple of museums that we wanted to see, but we couldn't the day before. But after that experience of walking around and trying to get to this museum and that museum, we were just like, there's just no way. And plus traffic. Like you have to factor that in as well. We knew that the morning traffic would be bad. It would put us off schedule. We just kind of crossed it off the list and headed into day 3.
Cortland was supposed to be only 6 or 7 hours from DC to Cortland.
But
which was the day the film festival was supposed to be starting, by the way, that evening.
We were hoping to make it in time for the opening ceremony.
Right.
However, when you're Mars and Neeter, we stopped at like 5 scenic view signs. Just going into Maryland. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Like we kept stopping by the road.
To go look
it's a scenic view.
Right.
But we kept stopping at so many places that it threw us off. And we went to actually this one place to get gas. And it didn't seem like they had women in the town. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I remember I said, I think my daughter lived around here first when she first moved to Maryland. Right. And you said, well, no wonder she left. I went to Washington, D.C.
I know, because we were just in this gas station getting gas and, doing our lady business,
and everybody was looking at us.
Yeah, they were just, and I
why are you in this store?
Right, like they had never seen a freaking woman before. Like, what are you looking at?
Right.
We get through these scenic routes. We get through Men's Town, whatever that is, and behind these trees, there's this giant golden statue of the Mother Mary. I'm like, okay, I think we need to see that. Whatever that is, we need to go to it, and we need to see it. So
we didn't know it was the statue of the Virgin Mary. We just saw something gold sticking out of the top of these trees along the side of this mountain, like glinting in the sun.
Right.
And I'm like, what is that? It was huge, but we couldn't make it out. And then there was a sign that said Grotto of Our Lady of Lourdes. And Margaret looked at me. She said, want to go? And I'm like, sure, why not? Let's go check it out.
So we drive up this steep hill.
Right.
We make it to this huge parking lot, and then there's this old cemetery. Right. I mean, some of the years.
It was like the early 1800s.
Early 1800s. Right after the cemetery.
That's where the huge statue was.
Right. That's where the huge statue was. It turned out to be
National Shrine Grotto of Our Lady of Lourdes in Emmitsburg, Maryland, Frederick County.
Yeah.
Right behind Mount St. Mary's University.
When you go into the main part of this like shrine area, I mean, there's different like statues.
Well, leading up to is actually the Way of the Cross, the Stations of the Cross.
The Stations, And I'm Catholic. Here we go. So if you are not familiar with Stations of the Cross, if you want to explain it.
Well, the Stations of the Cross are the actual, I think it's, I want to say 10 or 12 different times that it's the path that Jesus took. A priest
is listening to us right now and blessing us.
Right.
Profusely.
It's the path that Jesus took to the Mount of...
Yeah, he carried the cross up to the mountain. And each of these like stops is the Stations of the Cross.
Right.
And that's all I'm going to say. I'm very sorry, all you priests that are blessing me right now, and nuns. Thank you for your blessings. I'll go to church. So anyway, they're like beautiful artwork at each station. I mean, it's like these
bronze plaques and beautiful statues. And they also had statues of different saints along the pathway. One of them actually had relics from that saint. It's just a beautiful, tranquil, peaceful place to go and just meditate, reflect, and just to be alive.
even when you come out of this this shrine area, you can look down on the college, and the college is beautiful.
Oh my God, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's just in the middle of this like countryside. It's just gorgeous. We're driving through Maryland, and we finally get to Pennsylvania, and we see signs for Gettysburg, and I'm like, oh man, I've always wanted to like go and see it, and we should probably see it, but I really need to go to the bathroom. We have to stay on schedule, so we'll just pass it by.
Right. And then there's the sign that says Gettysburg.
Right. And I'm like, you know what? I need to pee. Let's just take the exit. We'll just go around the perimeter so we can say that we saw it. And I'm going to go find somewhere to relieve myself. So we go off this exit. I do not see a place that's open that could potentially have a restroom in it. Like there were a couple of spots, but we kept passing them by. And then
Gettysburg appeared.
Yeah, in no time Gettysburg appears. And so I'm like, you know what? I'll just hold it. It's fine. So we go in. We're just in awe. I mean, first it's expansive, like all of these fields.
It's huge.
Right. And apparently we were on the back side of it because remember the other side when we left that restaurant? When we left, we saw the visitor center for Gettysburg. So we were apparently on the opposite, like the back side.
Right.
But we were going down this road, just looking at this great expanse of like fields. And we see in the distance this hill. So the closer we get, the more we're like, okay, we have to go to that hill.
And we never went there either.
I know, we just kind of looked at it from the other side.
It kind of looked like, what, a castle or something?
Yeah, it was like a fort
or something at the top
so
of
we never ventured over there to figure out what exactly it was. So we just kind of parked at this group of boulders.
Right.
And what did that wind up being?
But that's the thing. Like, if you go to Gettysburg, make it a day trip. A full day, because there were so many plaques and so many monuments set up with explaining what happened at each different station. I mean, it's huge. When you read about Gettysburg, you just don't realize how massive and expansive the area is that they fought. But to think that these soldiers, now this was way back before they had automobiles, so they pretty much had to hike all the way up to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and then fight a war up there. I would love to go back and just take the time to go and see the whole place. I mean, we spent a good 2 or 3 hours there.
And 3 hours holding your pee is not ideal. But I just couldn't help myself. I had to like see as much as I could possibly see. I mean, you know,
we never know when the opportunity is going to happen again that you wind up there. I mean, heck, I'm 51 years old, and that was my first time ever venturing that far north. So I don't know if I'll ever make it back that way again. Hope I do, you know, but
that's, you know, I was just thinking that has to be so awesome to be there whenever they do reenactments.
Oh, right.
That's got to be so interesting. I would love to see that.
Me too.
But we were there, and it was kind of surreal because we're climbing up these rocks, and there's kids playing all over them, and we're just sitting there reading about the death toll in that area.
Right. And you're standing in a spot where so much blood was shed and so many people died, and it's just kind of like, it's overwhelming to think that the ground at one point was just covered in blood and dead bodies. And I'm standing right at the spot of someone's last breath, you know? Like, it's just very, not trying to be morbid, but it's just very, like, surreal and kind of shakes you a little bit, you know, to know that so much life was lost. Right.
Yeah, after we got a little depressed and we're like, God, that's a lot of people that died. Like, wow, it's a lot. We would get in the car, drive down another road, and we would see another statue, and we would have to get out
that we wanted to look at,
and we would have to read the plaque. And then I'm like, I need to use the bathroom, and then we would go on our way, and then we would come to another, and so on and so on. And we finally made it to, what was it, the Pennsylvania Monument?
Yeah.
It looked really cool. I mean, it looked like one of those national monuments that you see in
kind of looked like the
Washington,
Lincoln
D.C.
Memorial.
I know.
Yeah, without Lincoln.
Well, I think there was, let me look. I think he was up there because there were...
but not in the middle, like sitting on a big chair, like in Washington.
Middle. But it was really interesting. We had to stop because I was like, are those people on top of this monument?
Yeah.
So we had to stop. I need to go up this monument. We have to.
And there's only one way up, and it's down up some stairs or circular that go like pretty much through the side of the monument all the way to the top, and it's very tight. So I got halfway up and I was like, I can't do this. I have to go back down.
Right.
And it was cold.
And
oh my God, it was so cold.
And I had no idea that Anita was that claustrophobic. I mean, we did purchase tickets to go to Mammoth Cave, which is underground in a cave system. So at this point, I had no idea that she was claustrophobic, and we will get back to that, I promise you. So we're going to skip it for now. We'll get back to it. She ditches me. I go up to the very top because I'm like, I want to see the expanse of Gettysburg. I want to see how big this place is and see the sights.
And I told her, will you take pictures and show them to me when you come back down?
Right. So I was up there and I was taking pictures, and of course, I don't even know how long I'd been holding my pee. I know we were there for 3 hours in Gettysburg, so it was for a very long time.
Right.
And I see that like there's like a portalette, so I'm like, okay, after this, I'm going to go to that portalette because I see it in the distance. I'm going to go to that portalette, but I'm going to get these pictures first. So I'm sitting there and I'm trying to get this panoramic shot. The way I usually try to get panoramic shots is that I try to keep my lower half very still, and I maneuver my upper half. So it's kind of like a tripod head. So I start at one side of my body and I move over to the other side of my body. But what wound up happening was I did that. But as I did that, I relaxed the muscles in my abdomen area and wound up peeing on myself, trying to get a panoramic shot of Gettysburg to show Anita. But to those people... I
guess it's my fault now that
it's totally your fault. It's totally your fault. But to those people who are shaking their heads, I did not pee on the monument. I actually peed in my athletic moisture wicking pants, so I peed in those.
Mind you that the wind chill was probably like 30 degrees that day.
But it was all maintained in the britches, I promise you.
It was worth it.
It was maintained within the britches. And thank goodness there was nobody there when it was happening. Like everybody that was up at the top of the monument had already like gone down by the time
Thank God it didn't happen while you were going down the stairs.
Oh my gosh, that would have been terrible.
Or up the stairs, and I'm behind you.
Right.
I would have been mad.
So yeah, that's the story of how we saw Gettysburg. Okay guys, it's time to wrap it up with a segment on what me and Anita learned. Number 1, don't just use the travel app, make sure you look at a map. So if you want to take that Eastern Coastal tour, then you need to make sure that you are staying en route. Number 2, line up music and podcasts. So if you do get bored, you have absolutely nothing to say to each other, or you're just stinking tired, then you got something else to listen to. Number 3, if you're in DC and you're trying to hit up some museums, make sure you see how far apart the museums are so you can decide what to see and how much time to spend in each place. Number 4, do not ignore your bladder. If you have to go, just go. If you are one of those types of people where you get too excited about everything around you, then I recommend either A, wearing a diaper, or B, just investing in a pair of extremely absorbent pants. Also, the two spots that me and Anita visited upon arriving at Gettysburg were the Devil's Den, which is the huge rock formation that soldiers would kind of use to hide and attack their enemy. And across from that was Little Round Top. Thanks, guys, for listening to us again. Please join us next time for part 3 of the Blackbird road trip. You'll hear how I almost got my ass kicked by an old lady in a Gettysburg restaurant, and we finally make it to Cortland, New York for the Film Fest. If you enjoyed what you heard today, don't forget to subscribe and share. You can also join us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Until next time, guys, be well and be kind to your fellow humans. Mwah.